Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at some Pokemon that have legacy moves for the Open Great League and where I would rank them. I got a lot of requests recently to do a video again for this one for this current season, as I made a video where Superior was in there, and a lot of people were asking, is it worth to use an Elite TM on this Pokemon, and today we're going to figure this one out. You're going to have here both Elite Fast as well as Elite Charge TM, so I didn't write the things below because there are also some Pokemon that need 2 of them, or even 3 of them. So for this reason we're going to talk a lot about the moves that they can learn as well during the video. Otherwise, of course, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Only around 40% of you are actually subscribed to the channel, so feel free to leave a like as well while you're down there, and we can now start in immediately. This is going to be opinion based. It's not based on also if the move itself is going to be needed or not on the Pokemon, but on how good this Pokemon is in the meta with that move. So, for example, you're going to see me rank Venusaur most likely somewhere like good to have. Right now I would put it as like the second tier grass type Pokemon right now, but for example, you still, if you want to use Venusaur, you need to use Frenzy Plant on this Pokemon. If you don't get Frenzy Plant on this Pokemon, it would be kinda garbage. Otherwise, you're going to have both Wing Attack as well as Blast Sprint for this Pokemon here, Charizard, that you need to use an Elite TM for. Wing Attack is a fast move, need Elite Fast TM, Charge move of course, then Blast Burn, and also otherwise you're going to have Dragon Claw. Next one, we're going to have Blastoise, which is honestly kinda mid currently. It's definitely a decent Pokemon, having the Hydrocan, of course. You need Hydrocan on this Pokemon as well for it to be doing anything, but it's kinda a mid Pokemon. Wouldn't say it's really that great nowadays, but maybe has some potential in the future, who knows, but right now, wouldn't really put it up there. Beedrill with Drill Run, would imagine that it's a little bit better this season, as you're going to have now access to the buffed Exeter, which is going to give you some other damaging source, which is going to be maybe decent for this Pokemon. Kinda sucks that you need one extra fast move now to get to the Exeter though, so this is going to make this Pokemon a little bit more difficult to play, but definitely a strong one. Same goes for Pidgeot. This, by the way, only a tier list for the Open Great League, so not for the Master League or anything like this. Pidgeot is kinda either good to have or must have. You have Wing Attack on this Pokemon, I think is Legacy, and it's kinda in between. Like, the thing is, this Pokemon is really decent right now, but I think people are sleeping on it. It's basically the new Noctowl, and I wonder if this is going to get more traction now, but it is kinda not as often used. Actually, would put Beedrill also below, because it's not really deserved to be too good to have right now, because it's not really doing that much. But it's also not limited metas only, like Beedrill still has some play in the Open Great League. Next one going to be the normal Sandslash. I would put into limited metas only. It doesn't really have any play right now in the Open, but there were some cups, I think it was like the single type cup or something recently, where this Pokemon really had a lot of play. So definitely with Night Slash here as a charge move is interesting Pokemon. If you want to use it, you need Night Slash, but otherwise it's not really worth it. Also, it got nerfed a little bit this season with the move Earthquake, so it's definitely not as great anymore as it was before, as the Earthquake now deals less damage. I hope that this Pokemon also gets Drill Run, just like its counterpart, the Alolan variant. And honestly, Alolan variant can learn the legacy move Shadow Claw. I guess I still have to put into must to have, but I would put it a little bit low, because I think that Powder Snow might be a little bit better in the current meta. So, actually, I think that it's more like a good to have variant of this Pokemon, because Powder Snow can flip the Lickitung matchup, and Lickitung is in nearly every game right now. So, while most likely the Shadow Claw is more neutral against most Pokemon, Powder Snow has a lot of potential right now, and also won the recent regional tournament. So I actually would not really put it into like you have to get this move. You can actually run definitely with Powder Snow. Otherwise, you're going to you're going to struggle a little bit against Lickitung. So it's definitely a Pokemon that it's good to have if you have it around, depending on the team that you build, but Powder Snow is definitely really decent for it. Next one going to be Ninetales. Sadly, Ember, now going off Scorching Sand, it's still a mid Pokemon. Like, if you want to use it, of course you need Ember. Actually, you don't even need Ember on this Pokemon. Fire Spin is also totally fine, so it's something that you can have if you want to have, but it's not the craziest move ever. Honestly, I would not really recommend you to, I guess I have to put maybe into limited metas. The thing is, for the Primeape, you're going to have another evolution, which is going to be really good, which is the Annihilate eventually in Pokemon Go, as now Paldea region kind of got revealed. But the thing with this Pokemon is that you have both the legacy moves of Karate Chop, which is just a Wing Attack clone as a Fighting type fast move, which sounds great, but counter is just way better. And then you have Cross Chop, which on this Pokemon is also not really that decent. I would actually put it into garbage, because the Pokemon itself is not garbage, but the legacy moves or whatever that you need on it is kind of not something that you need to go for, because you rather have like something like coverage for Ice Punch as well as Night Slash, and then you already have your low energy move, and you rather have something like Close Combat to do some nuke damage with it, so wouldn't really put that high. Something that is definitely decent, a little bit underrated, is going to be the Poliwrath. It's definitely good to have a counter Poliwrath. Again, here the move, like this Pokemon needs this fast move. It is definitely decent with it. Actually, I have to put it into the highest tier as well then with that reasoning. But here it's definitely a Pokemon that you can run. I would actually put it behind Venusaur as well. It's just the awkward thing about any kind of fighting type Pokemon is that you have Machamp, which is just better. So like that's a little bit awkward for it. Payback on Machamp is limited matters only. That's fairly easy, otherwise you never really want it. We're going to have the rollout on the Alolan Golem thingy, definitely garbage. You don't really want this move at all. Volt Switch is just way better, nearly everything. And then you have Rock Blast as well, which is a lot of times actually better than Rollout, which is kind of funny. You have Surf on the Slowbros, which is only really for limited metas. I guess this one you can actually have into like mid tier for Great League as well, but the rest is definitely limited metas only, sadly. We are going to have Dewgong. Double Legacy still, I think, with Icy Wind and Ice Shard. You need definitely definitely Icy Wind and Ice Shard are both Legacy moves. For sure, one of the best Pokemon right now that you can have, and even a little bit more worth building than the Shadow Claw variant of the Alolan Sandslash. Well, Sandslash again is most likely the better and more common Pokemon. You can at least use Powder Snow for this Pokemon. You'd really need Ice Shard as well as Icy Wind. Next Pokemon, which is going to be kind of funny, and I would put into mid-tier, Psyshock variant of Hypno. Very cool Pokemon, definitely a fun one. Something that I feel like is underrated is going to be the Alolan Marowak. There are so many Sandslash as well as Machamp cores right now, and Alolan Marowak just completely destroys it. But then again, like yes, you can run the Shadow Bone on this Pokemon, which is Legacy, but you can also still use Shadow Ball, which is not even that much worse, or like worse at all, because a lot of people actually like the Shadow Ball a little bit more since Shadow Ball got nerfed for whatever reason. So I would put into mid, definitely a Pokemon you can take a look at. Next up, we're going to have the Lickitung, which is going to be OP, like literally the best Pokemon right now, most likely next to the Medicham. Needs Body Slam, which is a legacy move, definitely cool. The Gyarados has two legacy moves, which is going to be both Awkward Tail as well as Dragon Tail. Awkward Tail definitely must have if you want to run this Pokemon, but it's only really decent in limited metas. Then the Dragon Tail is something I would not really recommend you. While it has better stats than Dragon Breath usually turns out to be the better fast move anyway, and allows you also to swap in between Waterfall as well as Dragon Breath. Next one going to be Lapras. Sadly, in the current meta, it's kinda mid. You don't really see it at all. Having extra Ice Shard, which is definitely needed for the Legacy fast move, as well as Ice Beam, which can be decent, but is not needed directly, is going to be making this Pokemon fairly okay for the Great League, but not really too crazy good at this point of time. I haven't seen recently at least a single meta where this Pokemon would be also decent like in limited meta, so I wouldn't really put it into limited metas only, so don't know there. Next one, sadly currently garbage, is Superpower variant of the Flareon. Why did I put it in here? Because this Pokemon actually could be really cool if it just gets a better fast move and something like Flame Charge, Superpower, and then a better fast move compared to Fire Spin would make this Pokemon actually kind of interesting because you have great coverage on it, but still right now pretty garbage. Next Pokemon going to be the Articuno. Also, it is kinda garbage, to be fair. I haven't seen a recent meta, at least, where this Pokemon had any potential, so I would not really put it higher than this. The Moltres was actually decent in a cup recently, which was the one where Charizard got banned. I think it was like Sunshine Cup or something. So definitely has some potential in limited metas where they move Sky Attack that you definitely need, which is Legacy on this Pokemon. But I wouldn't really put it higher than limited metas. And then we're going to have the Zapdos, which I kinda would put into mid. I would actually put Marowak a little bit higher than mid right now because I feel like it has a lot of potential. Even though Lickitung is around, you still break the rest of the course usually. One Pokemon that kinda got nerfed is the Frenzy Plant variant of the Meganium. As Earthquake got a nerf, this Pokemon does not really have any appeal right now. I actually thought it was such a good Pokemon last season where I never really tried it out though, but it looked so good on paper. Now they're just better Pokemon for the same or like similar jobs. We have Politoed, which is also kinda mid. I guess you kind of need to have. I actually would put it into good to have, actually. This Pokemon is kind of underrated. I think a lot of people just sleep on it because Weather Ball plus Mudshot spam is really nice. Earthquake got nerfed, so I wouldn't really go for Earthquake, but I played it recently with Ice Beam, and this Pokemon actually put in a lot of work. And especially now in a meta where you have a lot of Gligar, I feel like the meta kind of got more better for this Pokemon than worse. So I would actually say this Pokemon has a lot of potential. Maybe worth to try it out with Ice Beam as well. Who knows? But if you take a look at the Pokemon in front of it, there are a lot of Pokemon that you can actually really easily deal with. So definitely a solid pick, definitely a solid Pokemon, especially as a Shadow variant. Jumpluff, honestly, I feel like Jumpluff is a little bit mid right now. Like, I wouldn't really put Jumpluff that much higher. Like, this Pokemon kind of got nerfed, in my opinion, not really directly. While it learns Aerial Ace, you don't want to have Aerial Ace, you want Acrobatics if you have it. But you can actually run with Aerial Ace right now. Like, you don't even need the move Acrobatics to completely perform, because Aerial Ace now is actually viable on this Pokemon, because it's a fast move to get to. But still, Acrobatics, which is the legacy move, is definitely a solid pick there. Then we're going to have Umbreon, which is one of the best Pokemon in the current meta. You need to have the legacy charge move of Last Resort in order to have anything for the mirror as well as against Azumarill, so definitely needed. Definitely a solid Pokemon to go for. Next one, we're going to have another Pokemon that's only limited metas, which is going to be the Slowking. Same for the other one. The Galarian is definitely better than the other two boys there in the back. Getting it to surf all of the slows, so surf is definitely needed on this Pokemon if you want to play it. It was very decent in the recent Psychic Cup, but other than this, not really that great. Smackdown on Tyranitar is really cool for the Halloween Cup usually, so it's very decent in the limited meta area, but not anywhere else. You can actually move in a little bit here. But now we're gonna move on to the Blaziken. Blaziken has access to both Stone Edge as well as Blast Burn, but honestly, this Pokemon is in nowadays meta kinda garbage, but it's very decent in some of the limited metas. But do you really need the legacy moves? Not really. Like, you can use Brave Bird and Blaze Kick plus Counter, which is usually the preferred moveset. And honestly, I would never go for Blast Burn on this Pokemon, because having coverage with either Stone Edge, which you need a legacy move as well, like legacy TM as well for, or for Brave Bird, is a little bit more beneficial in my opinion than having Blast Burn, while you already have damage output from Counter plus Blaze Kick. So honestly, not really ideal. Something that I would put actually a little bit lower nowadays is going to be the Swampert, which still of course overpowered and has to be like something that you have in your potential Pokemon that you can use for the Great League. But with the recent nerf of Earthquake, this Pokemon also kind of got a hit. It's not crazy, it's still a very strong Pokemon, a very solid Pokemon to use, and definitely something that you can run for sure. And of course also deserves to be in the top tier list. But Hydro Cannon on this Pokemon is of course needed if you want to run it. It also learns Surf, I think, which you don't really want to run because Hydro Cannon is just a better Surf. But definitely a solid pick there if you want to have this Pokemon for your team. Flygon had some potential recently in some limited meta, so I'm gonna put it in there as well with the move Earth Power. Otherwise, you don't really need it too much either, but Earth Power is definitely way better than the Earthquake. Now, I think they do actually the same amount of damage, but Earth Power is just a little bit lower energy, plus giving you the defense drop chance, so definitely the better pick there. Altaria is kind of mid now. Like, you don't even need the move, to be fair. Like, you can also run Dazzling Gleam or Dragon Pulse. Yes, Moonblast is preferred on this Pokemon, but you don't really need it, and it's kind of mid. Same goes for, like, Walrein. Where is Walrein? I haven't seen this Pokemon at all. Like, this Pokemon is completely gone from the meta. I guess because the main meta is Medicham, Lickitung, as well as the Steel type, which literally all beats Walrein, so honestly, not a great Pokemon anymore. Not that great anymore. I would actually put Beedrill even above those two there. But, yeah, next one going to be, I think, Earthquake on the Regirock, which you don't really need on this Pokemon. You want to have Stone Edge and the, what's called, the Focus Blast. I still give it, like, a little bit of play there because, like, it's fast Earthquake, but like, you don't really need it. Then we have, I think, Zap Cannon. Is it Zap Cannon? Nope, it was Thunder. So you have a Thunder on the, yeah, on the Reg Ice, which is actually fairly decent on this Pokemon. It's not always recommended because Earthquake is usually recommended, but even with Earthquake nerf right now, I actually would put it a little bit higher than, for example, the Regirock in the tier list in terms of trying to get the move forward. Regirock in itself is a little bit better, but you definitely kind of want to have, like, at least the potential of having Thunder forward for, like, a Azumarill matchup, or also against something like the Dugong there, or even against the Charizard. So Thunder definitely has some potential on this Pokemon more than Earthquake on the other one. Must have, of course, is Zap Cannon on Registeel. If you don't have that one, you are missing out. Really, really decent. Sadly, Empoleon, really garbage nowadays. Not really usable at all. Haven't seen this in any recent meta either. it just kind of like this, the thing with power creep, which is something that happens a lot in Pokemon Go, why also nerfs are very important, which a lot of people just don't get. Pokemon like Empoleon never got buffed, like literally never got buffed. Has Hydro Cannon, of course, as a legacy move, but everything around it got buffed and got like XL and everything like this, so like power creep happened and a lot of other Pokemon just creeped up above those kind of Pokemon that were viable before, and the Pokemon that don't get any buff kind of stay very, very low, and this Pokemon literally is kind of unplayable in the current meta, so wouldn't recommend you at all. Lose against the top 3 meta threats. Luxray has Psychic Fangs as a legacy move, and definitely a horrible Pokemon to use nowadays. Was already a little bit bad before the Spark rework, basically. As said before, Lantern really benefited from the Spark rework as he do more damage with it. While it does seem to be also something cool for like something like Luxray, but honestly, it does not really help this Pokemon out as much as, for example, for the Lantern. Actually, it's more of a nuisance because you don't get to the Wild Charge as well as the Psychic Fangs as fast anymore, and you don't have the book that Lantern has, where fast move pressure really helps you. You kind of want to have charge move pressure on this Pokemon, so I would not really recommend you to run this Pokemon or get this Pokemon at all. Next one is going to be something that's only limited metas. Both Weather Ball as well as Bullet Seed is going to be the legacy moves on the Roserade. I would say that the Weather Ball is needed and definitely cool, but actually instead of Bullet Seed, Poison Jab is usually a little bit better, so you don't even need the fast move for it. Cresselia, for sure, S tier at the current time of the meta. Grass Knot on this Pokemon is really nice. This Pokemon was one of my favorite Pokemon to use right now. Just so balanced and so strong. But a lot of people don't have this Pokemon. Definitely try to work onto it. Try to trade with friends, like low friendship level, low friendship level trades are working for Cresselia to get one for Great League. Not guaranteed, but definitely likely. And yes, I would put Frenzy Plant variant of Superior into the S tier for the people that asked on the last one. Definitely something that you want to run right now. Aerial Ace buff really helped this Pokemon, being able to beat other grass-type Pokemon with it now, being able to have something to hit harder against some like fighting-type Pokemon is really nice, but just having a faster move going to give you so many more matchups, which is so nice for this Pokemon. Annoying Pokemon to deal with, super strong, honestly so worth it. Definitely get one. Next one going to be the Samurott, kinda also is low into something where I don't even see where the point is to build this one, so I'm actually gonna put it below. Like, there's no real reason to build it. I actually would put it into garbage. I would not even try it anymore. It was decent for a little bit of a time, but I think the time is just over. Like, there's so many other Pokemon that are just better. I would not really recommend you to try it out. Like, you can try it out. It's not the worst. Like, maybe I can put it into mid, but it's just not really that great, not gonna lie. Hexurus, something super underrated. Breaking Swipe Hexurus is beating the first 3 Pokemon here already from the list, beating the Steel and Ice type Pokemon there, beating the Water type Pokemon, insanely strong. Like, honestly, something that I kind of want to try out again for a team, but haven't really found the time for yet. But definitely a Pokemon that I expect to be really strong, especially with Surf as coverage against Gligar. Very cool Pokemon, but yeah, Breaking Swipe, legacy move there. Next one going to be the Frenzy Plant variant of the Chestnut. I would put it into low tier, good to have. I think it's just the third choice grass type Pokemon right now. It has a little bit of different abilities compared to the other 2, as you're going to have access to Superpower, which is really cool for it. But the other 2 are just a little bit better in my opinion. Greninja with the move Hydro Cannon is a really cool Pokemon. I wouldn't put it into the top tier, this would be a little bit too biased, but I would put it somewhere in the bottom tier as like something that is kind of meta breaker, core breaker, which is basically the first tier is like the top meta picks, the second tier is like those core breakers for the top meta picks, and like the third tier are like some random Pokemon that you can still run, but they're not that great, to be fair. So that's kind of fitting. So I feel like actually it showcases the meta kind of well. Next Pokemon, which is actually something that I saw a lot recently, and I actually made a video about as well, I think, is Talonflame. Talonflame has a lot of potential in the current meta. Of course, Charizard is just a better Talonflame usually, but the extra fast move damage is really nice against all the Steelix that are coming up now after Breaking Swipe got added. So Talonflame kind of went up a little bit. Also, a Pokemon that is a really cool core breaker is the recent Community Day Pokemon here with the move Volt Switch is a fast move. The Charger Bug here, a really cool Pokemon. I would put it somewhere around like here, the tier as well. Definitely deserves to be a little bit up. Compared to the Vikavolt, it is just, this is for Great League only, of course. Vikavolt is garbage compared to the Charger Bug. Charger Bug is so much better than Vikavolt. You don't want to have Vikavolt if you can run Charger Bug. They have basically the same moveset, and Charger Bug just is the better Pokemon in terms of our stats, which is kind of funny. Of course, Vikavolt has some potential for the Ultra League as well as maybe the Master League, most likely not, but it would be a fun one. So definitely cool one there. Then we're going to have the MEWeedle. I would not use an Elite TM on this Pokemon. Honestly, it just does not feel right, as Super Power Rock is the better coverage compared to Double Iron Bash. They have to buff Double Iron Bash. I feel like Double Iron Bash just doesn't make sense in the current state of it. Give it +5, +10 more damage and it would be so cool on this Pokemon, but right now, it's just not really worth it. So I would not really recommend it to you, but we can move on to the next one, which is going to be the Gold King here. Or Sea King. Gold King is the German word for it, which is going to be in, I guess, good to have. It's more like a limited meta Pokemon, but you actually have some potential. So I would put it into like low end here. It's a little bit biased, I guess, but this is my tier list for the Pokemon that you want to build for Pokemon Go PvP. First is the ones that are really meta, that you really want to try to prioritize. Those Pokemon are really decent. Again, for the Alone Sandslash, you don't need it, but it is definitely very strong with it, with the Legacy Fast Move of Shadow Claw. You have to try it out, depends on the team if you want Powder Snow or not. Otherwise, second tier are the Pokemon that you kind of want to have as like some kind of core breaker, which I think work out really well for you. Third tier is something that you can build if you're kind of bored and you want to try out something random. This is something that you can run for that one. They're all kind of funny with their legacy moves. Then fourth tier is of course Pokemon that are only really viable for nothing. Like with a legacy moves here, for example, Machamp you can still run with like Rockslide in the main league, but I wouldn't really run it with Payback there. So those Pokemon are all really viable in like some certain metas that are limited. And yeah, last year is like the Pokemon that I would not touch at the current time. Some of them could get buffed in the future. For example, the Flareon I would expect, but yeah, this is my tier list. You can disagree, you can agree with it. You can tell me in the comment section what your opinion is on this tier list. I think that's kind of accurate. If you think so as well, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.